Welcome, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining me today. My name is Pritesh with KaizenCrypto. In this video, I'm joined by Anthony, Kyle, and Chris, and we're just going to have a casual conversation, just doing a bit of like a Catalyst roundtable today. So, guys, thanks so much for joining. How are y'all doing?
I'm good. How are you, Pratesh? You doing all right?
Doing well, man. Doing well.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having us on.
Yeah, absolutely. No worries, guys. It's like every time there's a new Catalyst fund, it's you know, just hit the ground running with the conversations around Catalyst, whether it's the YouTube live streams or the Twitter Spaces, talk about these different proposals. So for our
Yep.
conversation today, I know you guys have a few proposals that you've submitted in Fund 11. So you guys just want to tell us a little bit more about those.
So our first proposal that we're asking the community to support the DripDropz team is titled DripDropz Cardano's Reward Layer Improved Tooling. And we're asking for 570,000 ADA to help the DripDropz team improve the DripDropz website, both architecturally and from a feature expansion standpoint. Right now, we're on a monolithic architecture, and by kind of scaling that up, we're going to be able to move a lot faster. And so um, we're also going to kind of help enable our mobile web capability. But the features that we're really going to focus on are essentially a UX improvement to multi-drip. Um, we're going to cover a new feature called destination drip. What destination drip is it's basically gives you the ability to determine where your drip's going to go, right? So right now, if you were to use multi-drip and drip 20 wallets, you've got your drips going to 20 different wallets, right? So now if you want to consolidate that or do something, you now have to move all of those tokens. And it's like, okay, it's a little tedious. It's a user experience issue, right? And so what destination drip will allow you to do is it'll allow you to group your wallets to destinations, right? So it's essentially almost kind of like an NFT. Um, we've got a partnership in play there. I don't know if we're ready to announce what we're doing exactly there, but essentially the end result would be, for example, let's say I had 20 wallets that I'm multi-dripping, and let's say 6 are mine, 2 are my daughters, 2 are my sons, and the others, they're just grouped out differently. And I want all of my sons to go to one address. I want all of my daughters to go to one address. I want all of mine to go to one address. You see what I'm saying? So now I've got 6 drips coming to one wallet versus 6 different wallets. So it's a way for you to group your destination drip addresses. It's another UX enhancement that our users have requested rather extensively. Um, Now, this proposal is also going to help us scale out what we're calling Drip Swag, which is kind of an ads platform for our token clients to enable them to consume Drip to basically advertise their project on our platform using premium ad space. So
Nice.
yeah, it's just a tool to help our projects, facilitate promotion organically within the users of the site and, facilitate growth further for their projects.
Yeah,
Um,
one thing that comes to mind there is I know when I would log into DripDropz, you would see the droperators pools kind of showing as a banner. So it reminds me kind of like that, just to give a little bit more exposure to some of these projects.
that's exactly what it is. We're going to identify and carve out, advertising areas on the site and allow projects to have access to those. So another feature that we're putting forward is what we're calling rapid onboarding. And what rapid onboarding does is it allows our token clients a seamless method for onboarding their distribution initiatives to DripDropz. And so right now, the sales onboarding process for a token client, it's a little tedious. They've got to meet with myself, and then they've got to undergo what we call a risk assessment meeting with Chris. And it's an entire process that involves overhead on our end, and it bogs down our ability to launch new token clients rapidly. And so what rapid onboarding does is it's a system that enables a token client to perform the majority of the risk assessment themselves, right, via a web panel. There's still an automated or still a manual approval process on our end, but it offloads a majority of the internal overhead that we have in that process. And so it just enables token clients to onboard to DripDropz much more rapidly than than what's, currently implemented today.
If
Gotcha.
I could add that to like the preemptive or the pre-qualification process of onboarding your token project into DripDropz, we spend a lot of man hours dealing with. So what I mean by that is when a token project approaches DripDropz with the idea of doing a distribution on the platform, whether they're ready or not, we spend a lot of time determining with the token client, and in most cases, they're not. So we want to provide checklists and walkthroughs as well as a pre-qualification or preemptive check to even determine whether or not you're ready to distribute on DripDropz. And then we go through the risk assessment process, which is, as Kyle just mentioned, another labor intensive activity until we get it addressed. But that's the goal there, is to cut the times down on both of those and be able to process many at one time. Because at this point, we're only able to do one or two at a time because of the intensity of man hours that it takes currently. So we'll be able to, rapid onboarding for not only the token client, but for the DripDropz platform as well.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Anthony, because I do spend a lot of time, because I like to talk to the people that we're going to engage with, and I'll probably still work that into the process. But it's when you're dealing with people in this space, I like to look people in the eye. I like to know who we're working with, and so that's part of the process. And I've spent a lot of time with individuals who are not ready, and so this will help kind of alleviate that both on my end and on Chris's end. So just to recap, there's 4 major things that we're going for in this proposal that we want to do. We're basically doing instant rewards, rapid onboarding, destination drip, and the drip swag platform. We're going to make improvements to multi-drip UX, which we already have. And just again, that's the ability to drip 20 wallets at once. We're also going to be updating our architecture and improving our front end. So this is a huge overhaul for us. The project will help support the team. And so we appreciate that. I think this is the proposal that puts us at a run rate of what is about 28,000 a month is what we were targeting to cover the team.
Yeah, it's pretty close, I think.
Okay. But yeah, thanks guys. We really appreciate your support. For those of you who don't know, the DripDropz team is engaged on many fronts in the Cardano community. Our job is not just building products that we build. It's also, doing our part to contribute technically to the community, well, to the ecosystem. I think it's probably a better way to put it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I really can't wait to see the results of this funding round, because I know that there's a lot of great projects that have submitted ideas. And of course, DripDropz has been helping so many different projects distribute their tokens, onboarding new users. I remember actually one of my videos that I did for DripDropz showing the process of like how to drip those tokens. And just to see the differences in some of the features that you guys have created since then till now, it's crazy just to see how much work you guys put in. So definitely, as far as anybody who hasn't already voted, get in there, Catalyst voting app, search DripDropz. If you have voted, I think you can go back and add votes, right? You can.
Oh yeah, voting's not ended yet. So
yeah. So make sure you check out DripDropz.
if
I'll
you
actually be sure to leave the links for those proposals in the description as well. So just make sure you check those out.
Oh yeah, if you
How
search
much
for
do we
DripDropz.
have on voting?
What?
How much longer do we have to vote?
I don't think the timing's relevant because people are going to see this at different times. What's the deadline?
Let me see here.
The 8th, February the 8th is the last day.
February the
Okay.
8th.
February 8th. Okay, so we've got
Okay.
time.
Oh yeah.
So voting ends February 8th, everybody. 2024. I think that's the year we're in now.
Yeah.
But if you search for DripDropz within the voting app, you'll see two proposals there. One is the proposal we just discussed, and the second is our Mainstreet suite licensing. And so what that proposal is for is specifically for money for us to pay legal fees and just the surrounding fees to acquire money transmitter licenses. Specifically, we're going for 23 states to start. What a money transmitter license enables us to do is it enables us to accept fiat and move crypto back and forth between KYC users. And so achieving those MTLs is a major milestone in the initiatives that we're trying to push forward to bring mass adoption to Cardano. We've asked for the absolute minimum amount that we need to accomplish this goal to move the Mainstreet initiative forward. And so we would very much appreciate your support there.
Nice. Okay.
Cardano through the barrier to entry to go play in the rigged game of finance. I mean, that's ultimately what we're trying to do is ADA and have an ADA ally that is legitimately certified in the old money fiat system. Like, this is what we need. We have to have them. There's no option. We could build Mainstreet. We could have built Mainstreet years ago if we didn't need these licenses to operate, because it's a pay-to-play system. We're in a pay-to-play system, and it costs a lot of money for us to go play in this system, and that's what we want to do. And so that's why we're trying to raise the money so we can bring some legitimacy to the blockchain and offer a really cool product for all of Cardano users and give other people, outsiders, a easy opportunity to enter to our ecosystem.
Right. And being able to secure those MTLs, that milestone positions the Mainstreet initiative very well for funding opportunities. And whereas the other DripDropz proposal, completing that is going to position us very well to increase and grow revenue. So either of those help us push this initiative forward. So we very much, appreciate the community's support on both of those.
Yeah, Mainstreet could essentially be like a mini Coinbase or Binance that favors Cardano and its community. So that's what we're trying to build.
Well, the native asset strategy is going to utilize Cardano in that sense. So there's a lot we can do with native assets by bridging that gap of custodial and there's not really, what custodial app out there is utilizing Cardano native assets in a what I'm saying, in an interesting way. Like, so we're excited for that.
Yeah, lots of great ideas there, guys.
And just to add, the DripDropz proposal for the work that we're doing for the overhaul, that is a 6-month timeline proposal.
Okay, so it's like if these go through, so I don't know, was it three catalyst rounds this year? We'll have 11, 12, 13.
Right now, I think we're guaranteed 3 more rounds based on the voting mandate of this catalyst team. This catalyst team has the charter or mandate or whatever you want to call it to execute, I think, 3 more rounds. Or is it?
I thought they got funded for 4.
I did too, but was Fund 10 the first one though, or was that when they got funded?
No, I think that's when they got funded for it.
Yeah, it starts with this one and it goes for 3 more. I think that's the plan.
Wait,
when was Fund 14?
When was Fund 10? Was Fund 10 the last fund before we had the year break, or was that the first fund after the year break?
I think it was the last fund. Yeah, the last fund.
Yeah.
Okay, so Fund 10 is when we voted for IO team to own Catalyst for 4 more funds.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
I thought it was 3 after that, but okay, I could be mistaken.
Yeah, I think they're run until 14, Fund 14.
Okay, but yeah, so IO, yeah, it's 50 million ADA per fund. So we've got every 4 months or so, we're gonna have opportunity of 50 million ADA be injected in the community. Which is great. That's what ecosystem has that, so.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It was a smart play and it helped us through the bear. It really did. DripDropz, we've done well out the gate from day one, but it's super, super hard to fight against a depreciating asset, right? That's your revenue stream. And so we're excited to turn it around.
Well, people that are working for the dollar are facing the same exact problem we are. So
Well, they just don't know it yet because it's a different problem because the dollar minus the food, the rent staying the same until you sign a new lease. You know what I'm saying? It's an incremental. It's not like
we
it's not
work for the best asset you could possibly work for. Out of all the assets in the world that you could receive as payment, I think ADA is one of the best.
well, I don't disagree with that, but what I don't like is having to sell it all to pay my bills, man.
Well, yeah, of course. Well, that's why Mainstreet.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's been a crazy year, but we made it. We're all here.
Yeah, so as far as any of the other catalyst proposals that you guys are excited about or that you're looking forward to, any others that come to mind?
KAIZN is working on one independently. That's pretty cool. A lot of people might be familiar with Mercury. Mercury is a project started by Adam Dean. This is all open source, by the way. But it's essentially a WordPress plugin that allows users, shopkeepers, whatever, on a WordPress platform to accept ADA, fiat, or Cardano native assets. And what KAIZN is working on is basically an invoicing platform to work with all those three native assets and ADA. And I think just in the last couple of weeks, him and Adam have been working pretty extensively on testing transactions on the back end. So they're already making some progress towards this, but this will help them, kind of put a pin on it and get this thing to the next level. So I think it's a good one.
So Mercury is essentially it was a WordPress plugin that enables you to accept Cardano native assets as payment for ADA and Cardano native assets.
Yeah, yeah. If I have Mercury on the CryptKeeper site, so there's a plug for you. Go to cryptkeeperwallet.com if you want to use Mercury, and you can order a CryptKeeper using ADA. But Mercury is a plugin that goes into a website just like Stripe offers, where you can use credit cards to pay. This allows you to use ADA to pay. So it will take the item's cost in USD and use an API to pull ADA's price and give you an ADA amount to pay for the item.
So yeah, the end result is if you're using a content management system, WordPress specifically, is you can do a one-click enablement to accept ADA in your checkout process.
Yeah, and the orders all stay together, so the workflow stays the same. You get an order process, it shows you so-and-so paid in ADA, the order is ready to be fulfilled. It's flawless, it's beautiful. I'm a huge fan of Mercury. I've been using it for years at this point. So if you don't have it and you have an e-commerce store, go download the Mercury app and you can start accepting ADA on your website.
Nice. Okay. That's a big one for any WordPress users.
Now, is that specific to WooCommerce or is it?
Yes, it's I think it's a WooCommerce plugin.
And WooCommerce is a major WordPress payment plugin.
Yeah, everyone uses it basically. If you're not on Shopify, I think you're pretty much using WooCommerce.
Okay, so Ladison's working on that. What's the title of that one?
Mercury. I think
Mercury invoicing.
search, yeah.
And then there's also Gatekeeper 2.0. And Gatekeeper is essentially an NFT ticketing system that Adam Dean and Ladison had started working on as well. And that helps support both of those guys as well. Lloyd is working on Urban Farmer. So Urban Farmer is a pretty cool initiative. Chris, I don't know if you can talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's basically sidechain architecture. This is something that has been a kind of a passion project for Lloyd for a while. And he and Paul Spada, and fun 10 they put in the proposal that didn't get funded, and I was really hoping this one would, because there's so many projects that can use this. But that was the sidechain launcher toolkit. And since then, even though they didn't get funded, they kept on working on it, and they've made a lot of progress. And so them getting this, the Urban Farmer Grow to Launch, getting this proposal through will help them kind of get over the finish line too with that project. You know, Adoja is something I'm working on. We don't have any proposals in for this fund, but you know, we're going to use what they're working on for the sidechain stuff for Adoja. And I'm sure tons of other projects can make use of it in similar ways that we intend to. So I think that's a really powerful one to get through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at a high level, that's just kind of open source tracking. So in the event of, or in the case of Urban Farmer, it's small farms producing food that goes out to local restaurants, and the ability to track all this food and logistics management and kind of basically being able to identify who has handled what within that industry is what Urban Farmer's working on.
Hey, nice. So now I remember seeing something where there was an initiative set up where farmers could get loans to get supplies, seeds, tools, whatever they needed. Is it like that, or is it more of like a supply chain logistics solution?
I don't know. I don't know if there's any type of financing model built into the chain. Of course, it's possible. We know that the technology is there. I just don't know if that's something that Lloyd has designed, maybe possibly into the long term.
Yeah, Urban Farmer itself, the core of that project really, and they have a DApp too, by the way. You can go check that out. It's I think it's Urban Farmer dot. Let's see. Hang on. app.lgu.farm. That's the Urban Farmer DApp. But the core of Urban Farm is an intelligent management of gardening systems, hydroponics, stuff like that, monitoring.
Okay.
So stuff like that for agricultural purposes. But the underlying architecture of what they need to take their project further is this sidechain stuff. So yeah, I think it's critical for the entire space, not just
it's
agriculture.
Yeah, absolutely. It's important for a lot of initiatives. We need a variety of sidechain solutions in place. The Cardano Cosmos solution, we need a Cardano solution. I mean, with the Cardano sidechain, there's all kinds of funky stuff that we can do. And so, we're actually engaged and we have regular conversations with kind of IO, kind of making sure that strategies are aligned in that sense, because there is a desire in the ecosystem to ensure that certain solutions are brought to market. But point being is that we're not going to be able to scale as an ecosystem and the product market fit until we improve the UX, and we're not going to be able to get to an improved UX until we get everything on side chains, or at least the high volume stuff, right? Doja, and that we realized that as we were building out a Doja for the marketplace, we're having multiple transactions go back and forth. Okay, a little tedious. That's fine. You're working a process back and forth, but now you put the chain under load, it's untenable. You got something that cannot be used in a production environment.
Parallelism issues.
When convenience is something people expect. Now, the Doja backend, if you're going to go and, do fulfillment in an area where convenience isn't expecting, like, I absolutely need this manufactured part to do a job, I don't care how long it takes, that makes sense. But if you got a consumer buying a product, they're not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to fly.
Right.
So, Lloyd and I are also doing an entrepreneur series for the Cardano community. This is basically an educational series. We're going to cover a whole bunch of topics where we kind of just lend the expertise that we've garnered throughout the years to help, entrepreneurs and the community grow. And, obviously we're still growing too, but that helps us kind of supplement, our efforts for the community.
Yeah, those guys did some of that during the after town halls project, Project Taylor's town halls, and they were pretty popular.
Oh yeah, and we'll do it towards a format not only via YouTube but also Twitter Space. So we're gonna try and expand that and have those conversations across multiple platforms at once.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. I'm a big fan of content, educational content.
Yeah.
Really cool.
And actually, if we want to go back just a step to the open source sidechain stuff and stick to that open source topic, there's actually another one that I think it's Riley. Yeah, Riley Kilgore, Paul Spada, and it's part of the Vista stuff that AgroLabs that Adam Dean had been working on. But those guys are working on kind of a suite of public utility contracts for supply chain multi-party interactions, like logistics, escrow, stuff like that. And Adam had made the point several times already, but we do need more utility contracts, open source utility contracts, some kind of a library for people who are coming to the space in general, because it reduces that friction. You know what I mean? Especially for new developers, because we've seen the complaint several times, oh, developing on Cardano is hard. Well, it's a lot way easier than it's ever been, and it's getting easier every day. But the more of these open source utility type contracts and open source initiatives in general, it's a huge friction reduction. And so I think that's another good proposal for people to look at.
Yeah, and I believe there's 2 Vista proposals if you search for VISTA.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Any other shout outs we want to give?
Flawed Cardano Caravan. Anybody who was at NFTLV a couple years ago, or was it last year? God, the years just running together. But they probably saw the RV, and I think there was a daisy chain of them going, driving around the country. But those guys have been doing a lot of cool stuff with onboarding. It's another education thing. It's a really good onboarding tool. And Flawed puts so much of his time into the community. He's always in spaces. He does an onboarding space every Wednesday. He does the Cardano nights every Friday.
Yeah, he's very dedicated.
He's just got his hands all over the place. He's just a great guy.
Yeah, good guy, good support in the community. Pritesh, you've got some KaizenCrypto stuff in there too, don't you? So
yeah, man. Yeah, we've got a few proposals in there as well.
Good. We appreciate everything you do, man. Hosky's got a good proposal, which he's not asking for a whole lot of ADA, and he's doing what he does, going out to promote to events. And with the new POO, it's proof of onboarding is what the acronym stands for, but it's an awesome tool to onboard new users to Cardano. All they got to do is download Vesper wallet and basically scan a QR code, and they've got native assets in their wallet. It's the average crypto user has to incur 17 steps to onboard to crypto, and POO. How many steps is POO? Download Vesper, scan the QR code.
Yeah, it's like scan the QR code to download the wallet and then claim the tokens. It's like 2 steps.
Yeah, you see it will. Yeah, it's like maybe 3. Click this button and then scan this QR code. It's not complicated. So it's a very simple way to bring users into the ecosystem. If you show, and this is a philosophical discussion we've had many, many times, and what really is kind of led to Mainstreet is, if you present users with a mnemonic in bulk, it's going to intimidate them and it's going to drive them away. I don't want to deal with it, right? You give them an easy way. Now they have something. Now you say, hey, you have something to protect. You should learn a little bit more. You see what I'm saying? That is a easier thing to grasp versus, if you're going to get involved in this, you need to know how to protect it. It's like, okay, I'm just going to stand back because that's a little too much for me. And you've had conversations with your family members about, anything, if you're in technology, they think you know about computers and that's your thing, it's like, so.
Yep, absolutely. It's like if you tell somebody, okay, you got to write down 24 words, treat these very carefully, don't lose it. Self-custody, it's a totally different ballgame.
You're freak out. Yeah, but once people have some native assets in their wallet, they're not even presented their mnemonic, and then you say, hey, here's the next step. Or, you educate them from there. And it's like, I don't have a family yet. What am I going to protect? I don't have any interest in protecting my unborn children, right? But once they're there, I'll put in a little effort, So
It's a good analogy.
well, it's psychology. You know, you're just thinking of like people are. I have tried to onboard people, and you probably have more experience this with anybody. You're dealing with people. Once you bust out the mnemonics, they are intimidated unless their hand is being held, and they're still scared.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even, that's an interesting, I mean, I've been literally listed as the person to go recover a wallet in the event that somebody passes away.
On
Like the
somebody's
wife
will.
is instructed. Yeah. Yeah. Like the wife is instructed to call me to simply go get this paper with 24 words on it and recover the wallet of her late husband. So I don't know if people will ever fully understand how to be their own bank, or at least you know, maybe my kids, our kids will. I don't know. I just like, but this goes for, I can tell you that in the occasions that this has happened, which is 3 times, that all 3 of those gentlemen that I set up wallets for were older. They were in their probably 60s, I would guess, upper 50s, 60s. So I have not had to do that for anyone, you know, of our generation or younger. So maybe this is like a generational thing. I'm sure we witnessed the same thing when the debit card came out, or, you know, I remember shopping on the internet. No one wanted to put or buy anything on the internet because it wasn't safe. And now look. So who knows? I don't know how long that'll take. Inevitably, everyone will have to learn how to be their own bank and store their own money and hold their own assets. But I'm sure there will always be a hybrid system, something like a Gemini bank or like a Mainstreet will exist to help with that intermediary step.
I think it's two things we're dealing with. Number one is the generational inclination to technology, right? We didn't have cell phones when I was a kid, right? I got my first cell phone in college. I had pagers in high school, right? So it's like, you know, my kids though, busting out tablets when they're little, you know, so they're already engaged in technology. They may be a little bit more inclined to adopt technology. We've got AI coming. We've got, you know, everything is accelerating. So that's one aspect. That may take a generation or two for people to be just like technically inclined, right? So there's one side of it. And I don't know how long that's going to take to overcome. The other side of it is the UX. If we see major UX improvements, then I think that can, you see what I'm saying? That can reduce that amount of time frame. But in between, it's going to be like what Anthony suggested, you know, pseudo custodial solutions, at least to drive mass adoption.
There might
There will
be some
always
other
be,
incentives.
unless you can build a DEX with other chains on it, there will always be some form of a custodial middle person to do the fiat to crypto transactions. There has to be. Unless we just get off of fiat entirely and no one ever swaps back to fiat.
That's what I was going to say, is like there might be another incentive that we're not really considering a lot in some of these discussions, because it might be a generation away, although I doubt it's that far.
Well, what's that?
If there's a collapse of, you know, the US dollar or the British pound or whatever, you might be wanting to get away from traditional.
Well, and that's just it. Right now, we're still printing money. That problem has not changed, and it is exacerbating. And at some point, it's going to be to where it's not safe to receive dollars, right? As a merchant, you're going to want to receive. So there's going to be another incentive for merchants to push forward, you know, at some point. Now, I don't know if that's going to be a generation away or if it's going to be within the decade, right? I have no idea what the inflection point of that looks like, but it's spending's out of control. We know this. You know, this is the basis of our industry.
Yeah, the concept of a stable coin has always fascinated me because, you know, it's pegged to the US dollar. I don't know where the word stable comes from, because there's absolutely nothing stable about US dollar.
Well,
Um,
what does a stable coin accomplish? It's to is it to address a tax issue, right?
well,
Well, it's stable. It's stable as in the sense that it's 1-to-1. Now, it has nothing to do with the purchasing power of the dollar.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter if you can buy, it doesn't matter if you can buy a loaf of bread for $1, you can buy 10 of them for $1. It's a 1-to-1. That's what's important about holding the number.
And so for an application point, the value is that if you're receiving a stable coin, it's just like you're receiving $1 for tax purposes. You don't have to go and track the fluctuations in the asset price. So there's one benefit. And obviously the other benefit is to be able to move in and out of, holding a volatile asset into,
which is why they first came into existence in the first place, was getting
Yeah.
in and out of Bitcoin quickly.
right.
Oh, proposal. Does Matt from Meehan have any proposals? Because I think what he's doing is important for the ecosystem.
I don't know.
I don't know
Oh,
if
with
they,
USDM. Yep.
Yeah,
I'll search, see what Matt's doing. Hold on, let me look. I've got
he
this.
can stable coins.
if they do, I'll be voting for that.
Yeah.
Meehan does not have a Fund 11 proposal.
Okay. Ada Pulse, Josh, another education
Yep.
initiative.
That's a big one.
Yeah, Josh does well. Ada Pulse is good. Josh does good stuff for the community.
Yeah, all of the education stuff, admittedly, in the first 9 funds of Catalyst, I would have been dead set against all of it because I thought we needed more infrastructure type stuff, But now, I mean, there's like 10 that I'm digging. That's just my personal opinion.
I know one that just popped into my head is Vault IO. They're doing something cool where it's like if you've got exclusive content and you've got stake pool delegators who you want to reward with that content. I think it's pretty cool where, like for somebody like myself, if I've got something I want to put out there, but exclusively for stake pool delegators, I thought that was a cool idea.
That is cool. That's Vault.io, you said?
Yep, Vault IO.
Sweet.
And I know another one is Noom, Project Noom. Got to give a shout out
Yeah.
to Ryan and Florian. Those guys do a lot of good stuff too.
Andrew's on that team as well. So
Yeah.
Noom's a great team.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I think we covered a lot of the stuff. Is there anything else you want to talk about, Pritesh?
Not that comes to mind right away, actually. I think that we've given the audience quite a bit to chew on there with all those topics which we discussed. So
You're
I know
trying to bring mass adoption. Let's go.
that's the goal, man. That's the goal. Yeah.
So
I know a lot of these proposals which we talked about, I've tried searching for them in the app, and I find that the easiest way to search for any of the proposals is just by using a keyword,
that's right.
as opposed to like going to the link, typing in the name of the proposal. It's
Yeah.
just a lot to remember. So I find that if you are in the Catalyst app, and if you just can think of at least one keyword from any of these titles, that's probably the quickest way to search it.
Yeah.
Drops pulls up to, Vista pulls up to, Gatekeeper, I think
Mercury.
Mercury.
Yeah.
Please do.
Terrific.
You can search by name. You can search by Kyle and Lloyd. I think we'll all be on there. I'm not sure I'll be on the actual DripDropz proposal. I think that was submitted under the DripDropz team itself. But you search for Lloyd Duhan, you'll see everything that Lloyd had wrote up for us.
Nice. All right, guys. Well, yeah, hoping for the best. Fingers crossed for everybody. A lot of great ideas this time.
Thank you. We appreciate it. And we appreciate the community's support. We would not be able to do what we're doing without it. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, everybody. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Again, please be sure to support these great builders. They're continuing to show up every day for the Cardano ecosystem, pushing us forward. one step at a time for mainstream adoption. That's the goal. So Anthony, Kyle, Chris, always a pleasure, guys. You're welcome on the channel anytime. It was great chatting with you.
Thanks
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
You brother.